Today's AskReddit post. Partners of sleep talkers or sleepwalkers. What gems have you to share? Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one. Let's get started. We were freshly married and living overseas. My husband hadn't had much sleep the nights before, which usually enhances any sleep talking. It was hot in our room. My husband mumbled something which I didn't quite catch. I asked him to repeat it. He got up, opened the bedroom window and said very pointedly, "Airflow, bitch," then laid back down, completely asleep. Now, my husband has never, not once, ever called me a name or even raised his voice to me, so this is particularly hilarious. Edit. You guys are far too kind with all the awards and upvotes. Thank you so much. Also, this happened before Breaking Bad was a big thing. So maybe my husband is the original Jesse Pinkman, except without all the meth and mayhem. Of course. I love how you capitalized the word bitch. He used it like a proper noun. Question. Are you an English teacher? XD. Username checks out. My boyfriend once blurted out, "You're putting bread in my ears" in his sleep, mumbled something unintelligible and then followed up with "and I'm becoming a sandwich." Still makes me laugh whenever I remember. What are you? An idiot sandwich. IT's fucking raw. Where's the lamb SAUCE? I'm the sleep talker. A long while back my fiancée was working a job where she didn't get home until after midnight. She came home one night and was leaning over the table on my side of the bed. She swears up and down that I looked up at her, smacked her on the top of the head, and when she asked what the hell that, I told her I was checking to see if she was a ghost. Now, I do remember having a dream like this, but in my dream my hand did go through her head, proving she was a ghost. I had a dream that my GF was biting my neck playfully. I didn't want that, so I push her gently off and tell her to stop. Soon after I woke up and she was holding her eye and crying. She says I just pushed her, sat upright and straight punched her in the face. She said she wasn't too hurt, but was extremely confused. I had a girlfriend do that to me. I was in bed playing a game on my laptop with headphones. She sat up, looked at me, punched me right in the face, then went back to bed. Apparently I cheated on her in her dream and deserved getting hit. You stuck your dick in crazy, my friend. I did. We've been split up 4 years. Still making my life hell. Fantastic sleep songs with lyrics which are utterly bizarre. My 2 absolute favorites have been 1. Oh oh oh, it's a corner cat. 2. Obey my rules, and you'll always be a country cowboy, repeated about 5 times and finished with a yeah. Corner cat is amazing. That might make it into a song of mine. That was literally it as well. Like a jingle from a TV advert. No context, warning or other words or lyrics whatsoever. Absolutely incredible. In my head it's to the tune of Sweetest Thing. Dunno if that's the title of the song. Roommate freshman year of college was a sleepwalker sleep talker. We were in the freshman dorms. Small little room. I woke up one night and saw him sitting straight up on the side of the bed just staring at me, eyes fully open, just talking gibberish about golf. He was going on about Phil Mickelson or some shit. Have to be honest, it was creepy as all hell because he was staring directly into my eyes. Next morning, I told him about it and he just laughed and said, "Sorry, I tend to do that from time to time. I'm sorry to tell you this, but he is possessed by a golf demon. You need to make an offering of 10 golf balls and a 3-iron to it, or it shall never leave him. No, you're gonna want a wedge for that. Nah, you'll need a puttagist. What about for the boogeyman?" He got up, went into the kitchen and ate 1 bite of a mini pecan pie. No fork, just a straight bite. Then apparently remembered he hates pecan pie and left it stacked neatly on the little box. Another time he sat up and stared straight ahead at the wall. Didn't respond to me asking what was wrong. He stood up, walked into the wall, then stood there like he was contemplating the barrier. He just backed up exactly as he came, sat down and swung back into bed like nothing happened. That was creepy. I was in my brother's room watching TV with him and he ended up falling asleep. He mumbled something about Arizona and when I asked what he said he didn't respond. Then a few minutes later he sits up, squints his eyes and just scans the room back and forth. I asked if he was okay and he laid back down and went back to sleep. I still don't know what he was scanning the room for, but it creeped me out. Kinda sounds like my friend sitting up and going, "Salt, where's the salt?" and just sat there looking around for a few seconds before going back to sleep. No way. I had a friend that did exactly that as well. Asked for the salt, felt around for it angrily for a short while, and then went back to sleep. He started shouting that he couldn't feel his left arm. I pointed out he was pinching his pillow, not his arm. He then freaked out that he had lost his arm. I pointed out his arm was under his pillow. He said okay and started snoring. It took me another hour to get back to sleep. He didn't wake up at all. Edit. Blimey, went to bed and this went crazy overnight. Thanks to those who reached out in concern to check on his health. He participated in a sleep study and it was found to be stress related. Luckily not sleep apnea. Also, he did wake up, just not until morning. Didn't realize I'd phrased it in such a way that people thought he'd died. That sounds like he was high. Yep, he wasn't. But he definitely has a sleep issue. Often he sees huge bat people and gets out of bed to chase them away, or talks about all sorts of random shit. He once threw a pillow out the window thinking it was a bomb. I dread to think what he would be like if he did take any drugs. We can't stop here. This is bad country. Caught here in a fiery blaze. Won't lose my will to stay. My aunt likes to tell the story about her and my cousin sharing a hotel room one time. My aunt woke up having to pee and found my cousin sitting up in bed with her arms folded across her abdomen, kind of rocking back and forth and giggling quietly. When my aunt asked her what she was doing, my cousin said, "I'm holding a baby and it has an adult smile." I found this story deeply unsettling. Get the holy water, holy hand grenade, holy nuke, holy asteroid. My girlfriend was sleepwalking one night. Her. Can we get that done this week? Me. Ha. Her. Can we get that done this week? Me. Sorry. Her. Can we get that done this week please? Me. Okay. Her. Thanks. My husband once sat bolt upright on bed and announced, "You're not working hard enough. I have to fire you," and went back to sleep. My husband sat up straight and yelled, "What the fuck?" and laid down again. Got all cozy and not another word from him after that. Freaked me out. Sounds like he just got fired for not working hard enough. My mom sleepwalks sometimes. When she was in the middle of her residency, she came into my room in the middle of the night and sharply asked, "Did you give patient her dose of medication, like I asked you to 15 minutes ago?" I groggily replied, "Who? Wah?" She just huffed and said, "Well, I guess that answers my question," before turning around and leaving, without closing the door of course. She didn't remember a thing about it the next morning. What is it with moms never closing bedroom doors? It transcends age, race, location and all other demographics imaginable. If you're a mom, bedroom doors do not close. It is the way. To the moms reading this, be the change. I always close the doors but my wife never does. Our daughter says she always knows who's been where because of this fact. Ever ask her seriously why this is? It's a phenomenon that needs an explanation. Mom of 3 here. It's revenge. I'd be the king of Monaco. My wife said this one night out of nowhere. The funniest part was her tone of voice. Proud and assertive. Like she was really sure of her claim to the throne. Anyway, the joke's on her. Monaco is a principality. Whoa. Thanks everyone. I've never had a post or comment get above 10 upvotes before and definitely never had any awards. Well, I think you'll find the joke's on you. A King of Monaco is a nickname they give to people who have won the Monaco Grand Prix in Formula 1. Edit 1. Why is this my most upvoted thing on Reddit? And word corrections. So you saying their wife wants to be a race car driver? I'm just pointing out the facts. Perfect political response. De-upvoted AF. My brother did that in the middle of the night. He would get up, go into the living room, say some nonsense shit to our parents and go back to bed. It was actually pretty creepy the first times. Because he was like, they are in the walls. They are. I do this too. But I usually wake up as the sentence is coming out of my mouth and realize the convo I'm replying to wasn't real. Then I yell never mind and run away in shame. Napping with the boyfriend. A loud noise wakes me, but he's still out. Me. What was that? Him. Either a tree or a magic eraser. Mr. Clean hiding in your closet looking real nervous after that. This one made me properly guffaw out loud. Ex-roommate talked in his sleep. Once. He cried out, "No Gandalf. Don't tempt me, Frodo. What are you doing step Frodo? What are you doing step wizard?" My wife started screaming one night that she was lost in the local grocery store, and that no matter where she went she couldn't find her way out. I asked her has she tried checking out at the cash registers? She then looked at me and said in her most sincere voice, "That's why you are the smartest person I know." And she rolled over and fell back asleep. Oh, that's super cute. I too got the feels. My wife was mumbling a lot and suddenly shouted donkey kick as she kicked me in my shin. So that was fun. One time, my ex was asleep and started to snore progressively loud. He startled himself half awake, and he says out loud to himself, "Shut up, I'm sleeping." Oh, I snorted my drink through my nose. Reminds me of the time my dog woke himself up with his own fart. When I was a child about 5 years old, I was sleeping in my parents' bed for some reason. Probably a storm. Mom was awake. Dad and I were asleep. Suddenly my father and I have this cross-sleep conversation while my mom lays between us. Quietly freaked out. "Dad, you better not take my toys," I mutter angrily. "Okay, I won't," my father responds. "Don't even touch them." Okay, not particularly scintillating conversation, but notable for the fact that we're both asleep and still responding to each other. It was like making Alexa and Siri talk to each other, lol. I remember one night mum and I sat in the hallway giggling because my brother and dad were having a sleep conversation in different rooms. "Dad, do you sell steel here?" "Brother, can I help you, Dad?" "Dad, I want to buy some steel." "Brother, what?" "Dad, how much is the steel?" "Why are you buying clothes in the soup store?" "FKYOUUUU. What's your name?" "Tony." "Fuck you, Tony." My grandfather was a hard sleep talker. My grandmother has a funny story. One day my grandfather while sleeping was saying, "Do I punch this arsehole?" My grandmother replayed, "Yeah, punch him." Then my grandfather in his sleep punched her. I woke up one night when my husband started flailing around in the bed. It shocked me and I shouted, "What's wrong?" Then he punched me in the face. I yelled out and started crying. Then he woke up and shouted, "What's wrong?" He dreamt he was being chased and then turned round and punched them. My mum, who is in her 80s, often falls asleep in her chair while I'm visiting her. She sleep eats. Not real food, but she goes through the motions of holding a plate and bringing food to her mouth. It's hilarious watching her. I asked her once if it was nice and she said yes, it's very tasty. Edit to thank folks for the awards. The part about your mom honestly made my heart melt. My GF does a bit of sleep talking. I mentioned a sheep character from Animal Crossing. And she sounded like she was about to cry, saying he doesn't have hands. Which, to be fair, he doesn't. I hope Dom is a name, not some alternate version of Animal Crossing. Yeah, he is a sheep and my favorite character. Indeedaroo. This actually happened last night. My fiance started talking to me like we had never met before, and after a minute I realized that she was dreaming about our first date. It was really wholesome and I was surprised at how much detail she remembers. This is the sweetest comment on this thread. My mom used to wake me up for school because I'd sleep through my alarms. She has a bunch of stories about weird shit I've said to her right before waking. "He's not here. Check down the street. Just put it on the roof and it'll blow away." My mum has to do this with my younger brother, and most recently he sat up while still asleep, started moving his arms really quickly as though running, and said, "I am the fastest man alive, Barry Allen." Was he telling Barry that he was that fastest, or was he supposed to be Barry, asking the real questions? Sigh. My boyfriend either recites postcodes, delivery driver, or calls the dog in his sleep. So either he is mad no one is responding to his postcode nonsense, or I get a flying 30 kilograms dog to my body. I'd like to imagine that he wakes up and calls the dog just to duck with you. Mate, you're imagining some nasty shit. You are, actually. Husband woke up in the morning and told me about a crazy dream he had. We were hosting a party and he was serving cookies. He was upset that nobody was eating them. When we went downstairs, we discovered a full plate of cookies sitting on our dining table. That would be the best discovery ever. If there was no fire risk, sleep baking would be pretty awesome. It would be like being your own live-in chef. All the magic of someone else making food for you even if you're solo. My girl woke up one night and said, "Did you find your rocks?" And I asked her what she was talking about and she said, "I don't know. I'm just trying to make conversation," and promptly went back to sleep. She has no recollection of this. Well, you obviously weren't being talkative enough. Yup, they should have tried to play along. Maybe she wanted to roleplay. Years ago, my wife was mumbling in her sleep and seemed a bit upset. I wanted to comfort her without waking her up too much. So I said, "Honey, you're fine. Do you know where you are?" She slugged me in the arm and said, "I'm in place where punch buggers are seen first." She then rolled over and muttered to herself, "Chugga chugga chugga buggy," and went back to sleep. She didn't remember a thing the next morning. Anyone that says chugga 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 buggy is a keeper. Stay awesome, dudes. Nobody knows what it means, but it's provocative. When my girlfriend and I started dating, she told me that she's been told she talks in her sleep from time to time, and unfortunately has nightmares fairly often. One of the first nights we spent together, she wakes up at 2 AM and sits up super fast. It wakes me up and I look over only to hear her quickly say, "Pizza, order a pizza," then lie back down and start snoring within a minute. God, I love that woman, LMAO. Well, did you order a pizza? I hate to admit that I did not get a pizza. It was 2 in the morning, so everywhere was closed, but most importantly, she wouldn't wake up when I tried to ask her what toppings she wanted, or at least you put in the effort. My boyfriend sat bolt upright in bed in the middle of the night. He doesn't usually sleep talk. There's a thing over there. Me. Absolutely shitting myself. What thing? Upgrade. Me. Relieved but very confused. What kind of upgrade? Brag. Me. Oh, a bag upgrade, okay. Carry more stuff. Yee. He then flopped down and began snoring, letting me slowly recover from the massive spike in heart rate. Your boyfriend sitting up in a dark room and looking at the corner saying there's a thing over there is not fun. Turns out he'd just been playing 2 games. Meanwhile, there really was a thing over there who was very relieved you didn't investigate. Not gonna lie, this comment just made me turn the lamp on and check the corner. Was it a corner cat? I cannot stop thinking about the corner cat. I'm the sleep talker. I don't remember any of this, but my boyfriend said I did this to him. In the middle of the night, I hit my boyfriend's ass hard with my knee. Obviously he was pretty upset. He sat up to stretch, and I said I'll stretch too. Did stretches, and laid back down. Then, while making full eye contact with him, I grabbed the blanket and threw it off of him, then rolled over and started snoring immediately. I do shit like this to my so. He gets so upset, face with tears of joy. Why we have multiple blankets on the bed now. He farted very loudly and proceeded to say, "You got the wrong guy." Of all the ones I've read through, this one gave me a genuine chuckle. My ex used to sometimes talk in her sleep, and one night I was up really late and was really high just watching TV, and I heard her say, very clearly to me, "Let's get McDonald's." Asterisk. I thought to myself that it was a great idea, so I got up and started getting dressed. After I was done, I went back to wake her and she was out. I shook her a couple of times and said, "Let's go. I'm ready." She finally woke up and said, "What? No, It's late, go to bed. Asterisk. I was so disappointed because I totally thought she wanted to go and I was too high to drive. So I had to get undressed again and go back to bed. Looking back, I totally should have known that was just her talking in her sleep. But I was so high I did not want to accept that as the reality and chose to believe I was gonna get some McDonald's. Just like my dog when I move the lead but we don't end up going for a walk. Bro, you actually watched the whole video. I'd give you a high five if I was a human. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.